So you just got the new iPhone 15 Pro to take advantage of Apple Log. How much dynamic range does Apple Log have, and what is the cleanest ISO to film in? With the new Blackmagic camera app, I found out. Let's go. So how am I testing this? Well, a long time ago, I made this really DIY jank dynamic range board. Essentially what I did was I took a poster board, cut out a rectangle, used one-stop ND gels, and layered them consecutively until I had 16 different stops. And then from there, I take a large softbox, shoot through it so that the chips are evenly lit, and that's essentially how I was testing dynamic range. First, let's take a look at Apple's own camera app. If you let it do its own auto exposure, we're looking at approximately 9 stops of usable dynamic range, 10 if you want to include the clipped white and black chip. Moving over to the Blackmagic camera app, I saw that in my test chart I was getting 12 stops of usable dynamic range, 13 if you want to include the clipped white and black chip. In this practical example between the Blackmagic camera app and Apple's own app, when I apply my true life LUT, we can see that the sky is a little bit blown out and we're not able to recover as much from the in-camera app. But with the Blackmagic, I'm able to still retain more saturation because the highlights didn't get blown out, and we can see that cloud with a little bit more detail. In the case that you're trying to grab a really quick moment in Apple Log, go ahead and just trust the in-camera app as its auto exposure is going to do a pretty good job. If you do want to retain more information in the highlights, then simply click on the brightest part of the image and you will be able to salvage maybe about a stop back based on my tests. Moving on to the ISO performance, from ISO 100 to 800, the noise levels in the shadows seems to be pretty good. They only start to show up just a little bit between ISO 800 to 1000. From ISO 1000 to 2000, this is where we're going to start seeing it a little bit more prominently, but nothing that a little denoising can't fix. Once we go from like 3000 all the way to 5280, I believe is the maximum, that's where you're really going to see a lot of noise start popping in. So if you want the cleanest ISO performance, we're looking anywhere from 100 to 800. Hey, Editor Jason here with a slight cold in my voice. Gerald Undone just dropped his iPhone 15 Pro Apple Log dynamic range test, and he can definitely test it way better than me. But essentially, we did find very similar results, but I think he actually cracked the code where the native ISO is for Apple Log, where you can get approximately 14 stops of dynamic range. So after this video, go check his out right away. Hope this has been helpful. If you want to learn a little bit more about Apple Log and the Blackmagic camera app, I have some more videos for you right here.